Hello and welcome back, you guys. You are currently listening to the Paper Soprano podcast. Welcome. It is episode 80. 80. And girl, am I feeling it. I think it's so ironic that the days leading up to this, I've felt so energetic and kind of just killing it, just chugging along. But once I have one hot second of time to relax, it's just it's a downhill spiral. Today, I basically sang for the whole morning. So I went to church and I had to record today. And if you don't know, I work for a church. I'm their singer. And we do recordings for their masses. We don't do them live. We do them pre-recorded so that we can record a bunch in advance. Today we recorded 3 masses. And girl, oh my God. I'm just exhausted. It was 6 hymns. And I sang 2 verses of each hymn. And of course I had to rehearse with the accompanist, with Paul. Love you, Paul. Had to rehearse with Paul beforehand. So I sang all of them, 1 verse of each just to run it through. And then we sang it in the real deal, in the recording. So that was a lot. But then also I have to do offerings. So if you're not familiar with the whole church setup, for the Lutheran church that I sing for, usually there's an offering, kind of like an art song or an aria piece of music that you sing usually after the gospel, I believe. It's all totally messed up right now because of COVID and it's just different the way that they set it all up. So yeah, so I sang 3 art songs. One was a spiritual, one was Dvorak, and one was a German art song. I think it's by Hiller. Yeah, so that was a lot. So I had to rehearse those and then sing those. And yeah, the whole process took about 3 hours. Yeah, about 3 hours-ish. And it's just exhausting. I really can't tell you enough how much I enjoy singing for this little church. They're so kind. Everybody there is so precious and really, really just amazing. But oh my God. Oh, singing 3 masses on a Saturday morning really punches me in the face, productive wise. Because then I came back here and I was exhausted because I had to get to the church by 9 a.m. and do all this stuff. I get back here at noon and I'm exhausted. And moral of the story is I took 2 naps today. One was me trying to take a nap, but I was too wired for some reason at 12 o'clock. I couldn't relax, but my eyes have been really hurting me lately. So I've been really just trying to take little naps whenever I can and not look at screens because my whole freaking life exists online right now with teaching and classes online. Literally every waking moment of my life, pretty much you can guarantee that within that moment, I'm going to have to look at a screen at some point. Responding to emails, blah, blah, blah. The whole thing. So my eyes have really been hurting lately, and I do have blue light glasses. I do have them on right now over my other glasses. Looking like an idiot wearing 2 pairs of glasses, but it's just I sort of kind of got on myself today about taking 2 naps and resting, but also your girl has 3 jobs. And on top of that, I'm a doctoral student. I'm in a doctoral program right now. And throughout the week, I pretty much just kind of go and don't stop. And I think that today was really a wake-up call as to, you really, me talking to myself, you really need to get it together in terms of like your quality of resting. Like, oh, rough. But you know what I mean? Like, my quality of resting has kind of been like, it's like you sit down to rest, right? And you're like, okay, I'm gonna just sit here for a second. And then you get bored. And you're like, well, what the hell am I doing here? Like, I should be doing something else. And then you start feeling guilty about just sitting there and doing nothing. So then you like try and put on a meditation, or you try and do something productive. And you're like, oh, look at me, I'm meditating. Like, yay. But truly, I mean this so genuinely. It is so difficult for me to just do nothing. And not like listen to podcasts or listen to music or, you know, worry about memorization, like trying to write out all my translations and blah, blah, like trying to do all these things. Like, I literally will get irritated just like sitting there. And I'll get irritated in the worst way, like irritated like, ew, why aren't you doing anything? Gross, yucky. You should be doing something right now all the time. When you're not sleeping, you should be productive. And by productive, I mean doing some tangible thing that's gonna support you in your future. And like, it's exhausting. And that's why people burn out. People meaning me. So honestly, it's kind of worrisome because I am kind of right now on like the fast track to burning out. Which is really unfortunate because I do know that I have made conscious efforts in the past couple of weeks, past couple of months to avoid this. So that's why today I was really, really trying to, yes, do the things that I need to do, like laundry and dishes and cleaning and, you know, things that need to be done. But I basically sang like a lot of music today, like an hour's worth of music. Like, just go ahead singing it all, you know, for recordings and rehearsals and stuff. And so my practicing suffered today. But I did write out my translations a couple times, and, you know, I'm trying to really memorize this one recit. Like, this weekend, it was my goal to memorize this recit. And I pretty much have both arias learned, and I'm trying to start now really buckling down on memorizing the recits. So yeah, I also have a beverage here, but I'm not even really feeling it. It's a hard kombucha. And the other thing that I need to tell you about, the amount of dehydration I've been experiencing with this weather, I can't even tell you. It's like the heat in my apartment, it like self-regulates, so it turns on, you know, and then it pumps out a bunch of heat, and then it regulates itself, turns itself off, whatever. The way that it does that, oh my God, it is so drying to me, like when I'm sleeping, but I can't just like turn the heat off. Like, that's not how it works. So it's so frustrating, but I wake up every morning with like a bloody nose and everything's dry and everything's horrible. But anyway, so what are you guys doing today? I can't believe it's episode 80 and I don't really have anything fun to talk about. Like, this is the reality of of this podcast. Oh, also, I did, if you listened to yesterday's episode, I did say that we were going to have a guest today, but our special guest wasn't feeling well. And I was like, yo, dude, totally chill. Don't try and force yourself to do anything. Like, I'm so understanding of other people, like, when they're not feeling well. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, totes, no problem at all. Do not push yourself. Like, you need to take care of yourself. Oh my God, stop. Like, don't even think about it for one more second. But then when it's me, it's like, nope. Which is like, what the hell? Why am I like this? It's gross. And I'm like, why? But anyway, so that's the scoop today. It's not going to be a really long podcast today because I am trying to, make myself relax. And by make myself relax, I just kind of mean not actively doing something every single minute of every single day, which is really tough for me. But here we are. Oh, Lord. I also heard that there's a lot of snow in Buffalo right now. Like, they got hit with some lake effect, which, I mean, send it our way here on Long Island. I could deal with a couple more snow days. TBH. We had another snow day on Friday. And yeah, dude, I'm living for that. I'm literally living for the opportunity to not have to go to my office job in the mornings. That's like, it's just like a chef's kiss. Like, thank you so much. Oh my God. I just don't have to set an alarm. And I can just teach my lessons in the afternoons and go to my classes at night and then go to bed. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, let's read some stuff. Where's my book? I feel kind of bad because this is supposed to be like, oh, it's episode 80. Yay, episode 80. Like, I really only post about these kinds of things like at the like big landmark numbers, like 80. I didn't even post for 75. Because you know what? It is what it is. And if I don't feel like doing it, like, nobody's gonna die if I don't promote my freaking little, like, podcast. Nobody's gonna die. And that's okay. And I might promote this one. I might. But I also might wait till tomorrow to do it. I don't know. Ugh, it's so frustrating to me because I feel a lot of pressure from myself. Literally nobody else cares. 0 people care. And yet here I am, putting this imaginary pressure on myself. Couldn't tell you, guys. Couldn't tell you. Although I do feel for a lot of my other colleagues and friends who are trying to like promote themselves exclusively online and then getting really, really beat up about the fact that, like, nobody is, like, getting into their stuff or, like, nobody's supporting them or whatever. And I think I've talked about this before on the podcast, but, like, it is just such crap. Social media is crap. And, like, it's super important, don't get me wrong, but in a way, like, people just kind of don't care. And you have to be okay with that. Like, you have to be okay with the fact that, like on this podcast, I am so grateful. Whenever I post, I'm like, oh, look at that. Like, my podcast has, like, 12 views. Hell yeah. And if it gets more than that, like the episode with Kat that I did a couple days ago, that episode got like 50 views. And I was like, whoa, totally, like, wow. But I never expect my friends or my family to listen to this. I never expect anybody to support me just because I'm putting content out. And I think that's kind of insensitive to expect all of your friends to just support you just because you're trying to promote yourself online. Like, I am such a huge advocate for supporting people online. Like, if you, like, Kat Vetter, if you're listening, I'm all up on, like, the Stony Brook page, like, liking everything, and I share things from time to time of people's, like, accomplishments and whatever. But I'll be damned if I start sharing stuff just because people are posting stuff. Like, then who am I? Like, am I just a vessel for you? Like, as your audience, do you just want numbers? Like, do you care about your audience? Do you care about the people who are listening? Because when I look at those 12 people who listen to my podcast, I don't necessarily know who's watching. I don't know, some of them might be spam robots. Who knows? Sometimes I get those weird comments on my videos and I have to delete them because it's like, why? But, I actually look at that number and I'm like, I know there's a small handful of people who listen to these, and to those people, I'm like, I really do create this for you in a way, like for those people who listen, because I feel compelled to like do things that are going to make those people laugh and are going to make me laugh, and things that I'm inspired to talk about, or the things that I want to project or put out into the world. I'm not trying to please, new audience members. I'm not trying to like widen my net or change the things that I'm doing to appeal to new audiences. And I'm not saying that people who do that it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But when you start openly talking about like things that only involve how many followers you have, or only involve, I need more engagement on this post, or can you guys like and share? Can you guys please, like, let's do this follow chain, like follow these 12 people and they'll all follow you back so we can like grow our community. It's like, dude, that is the cringiest crap. And it makes me look at your content and go, ew, why? Why are you doing this? Like, I'm really sorry if this is something that you've done in the past, or you want to, like, argue against me. Feel free. This is just my opinion. But I personally feel that when people try and promote themselves in a way that is numbers-based, just so that they can get, quote, more famous or get more recognition, it just screams disingenuine to me. It just screams needy and like uncomfortable with the content. Like, if you're comfortable with your content, you'll just keep posting it, and like you'll just keep putting it out there. And like, yes, the people who you listen or who follow you or listen to you, if they're also compelled by it, maybe they'll share it or maybe they'll promote it. But you can't expect people to just jump on board just because you're asking them to jump on board. They need something to jump on board for. And that's why it's so cringy when people are like and subscribe on YouTube. And I do say it at the ends of videos and stuff, but there are like vloggers and people who I've seen in the past who are like literally saying like, hey guys, smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, guys, hey, just want to let you know, like, if you subscribe, you're entered in a contest, and we're gonna have blah 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 blah, like, can you comment, make sure you comment, like, just crawling around begging for people to subscribe and like. And for young impressionable audiences, sometimes that really works, which is really, really also not good, because I'm like, who is your audience base? Because now you're going to have to pander to them. You're creating this persona for yourself here. And if anything, in 80 episodes of doing this podcast, I have just abandoned the fact that I will never have like a ton of viewers on this. Like, and that's totally fine with me. Like, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking to read stupid crap from this minute sketches of great composers. And I'm looking to have a beverage and sit down and have a conversation. And, sometimes have a guest. Sometimes talk to people. Like, I like to talk about specific scenarios and current events sometimes. And that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I want to put out into the world. And I think that it's so unfortunate that people get caught up in this whole social media game, this machine. I think that it's just it's creativity crushing, really, because you start creating for this imaginary potential audience that doesn't exist. And it may never exist. Or it might. But that's just, oh God, it's so weird. It's so weird. So just, I think the moral of the story here, I'm kind of circling around a lot, but like, for me personally, again, this is just my opinion. You can come for me if you want, but like, I'd love to have a conversation about this if you're really passionate about it. I think it's unwise to try and rely on people caring about you, random strangers, random people on the internet, to rely on that as your potential means for success. Don't base your means for success on other people's following of you, or if somebody unfollows you, or like if somebody doesn't want to hear your stuff. Fine. You know, that shouldn't be your main goal. And I think a lot of people already understand that, but there's a lot of people out there who do not, and that is really truly their main goal. And it hurts me to see them upset and to see them suffering outwardly because, you know, people are saying nasty things or people are unfollowing them or blah, blah, blah. So just post what you want to post, guys. Live your life. If people are meant to see it, or if they are meant to be in your little created community, then they will get there and they will support you. But you have to first support your own true, genuine goals for your creation. And that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so on that note, here we go. Ew. Okay, so we're moving right along here. Today we have, in our Minute Sketches of Great Composers segment here on the pod, we have Sir Arthur Sullivan. A British Peer of Song is his subtitle here. Born 1842, died 1900. Nice. The red and gold of Sullivan's uniform as a chorister in the Chapel Royal was no more brilliant than his career. Born in London, May 13th, 1842, of highly intelligent parents, the curly-headed, mischievous lad who was to become the idol of England first exercised his musical lung power on the wind instruments of his father's military band, then in singing hymns at the Chapel Royal. Onward, Christian soldiers, and Nearer My God to Thee, outstanding among many hymns he published later in his career, are grateful tribute to his early training. I feel like I know those hymns. Maybe not the Christian soldiers, but Nearer My God to Thee, I definitely do. We sing a lot of hymns. At church, at the church that I work at. Okay, here we go. Having won the Mendelssohn Scholarship, he went for a year's study to Leipzig, quote, discovered, end quote, the music of Schumann and Schubert, and came back to England humming it along with his own cantata, The Tempest, to win immediate popularity for both. The Kenilworth Cantata, Irish Symphony, and In Memoriam Overture are other serious works, but it was the light operas he wrote with his witty collaborator, W.S. Gilbert, hey girl, that brought him fame and fortune. All fashionable London descended to the dingy underground theatre where their first attempts were given, and followed them thence to the Savoy Theatre, built to house their productions fittingly. During the 25 years when one was flint to the other's steel, they wrote Trial by Jury, Patience, Pinafore, Pirates of Penzance, Ilothant, I-L-O-A-N-T-H-E, The Gondoliers, Yemen of the Guard, and many more. Mikado, probably the most popular of all, was written after Sullivan had tearfully protested to Gilbert that, quote, he could write no more, his inspiration was completely exhausted, end quote. Nevertheless, the wit of the words, the tunefulness of the music, the complete sustainability of each other in this, as the rest of these operettas, had never before been equaled. On a, quote, first night, end quote, at the Savoy, the enthusiasts in the gallery would sing, under an impromptu leader, hits from other operettas, with Sullivan frequently sitting around them, although Queen Victoria had reserved a place for him in the royal box. It was who, by urging him unceasingly to produce a serious opera, finally killed the goose who laid such golden eggs of melody. A quarrel with Gilbert and the eventual divorcement of their talents was the result. Oh, I didn't know they broke up. Oh, sad. The more the pity, for in the years that followed, neither produced anything further of value, either separately or in the last feeble attempt to renew their collaboration. Oh, they tried. They tried to get back together. Okay. Oh, Sullivan died of cancer, November 22nd, 1900. Fittingly sung to rest in Westminster Abbey by the choristers of the Chapel Royal, he died as he had lived, in a blaze of red, gold, and glory. Man. I'm always so surprised when they die. Even though, like, of course, obviously, this guy died well over 100 years ago. But, like... Also, I'm kind of bummed that they broke up. Tried to get back together and then broke up again. Or, like, couldn't produce any more music. Gilbert and Sullivan. Woohoo. If anybody, like... I don't know. I think Gilbert and Sullivan is kind of like the bridge between classical music and musical theater. So I think if you're a musical theater person and you're like, ew, classical music, yuck, you can get down with some G&S. You can get down with some Gilbert and Sullivan. Trust me. Pirates of Penzance, bop. The Mikado, a little bit questionable these days, but has some really good melodies, if anything. Maybe not the best content. And if you do some research, you'll probably see what I mean. Yeah, some other stuff. I forget. Pinafore. Yeah, great. Love it. Killing it. Just like left and right. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Love me some operettas. Woo. I'm gonna take a sip. Oh, this is weird. This hard kombucha. A little bit strange for sure. Definitely a little bit, like, you know how kombucha has that weird, like, rancid taste? You know, like, just like a little bit yuck, a little bit nasty. That's kind of what this tastes like, but also has like a weird alcohol nasty taste. But I mean, I'm definitely still gonna drink it because I paid for it. So that's the mark of adulthood right there. If you buy something and you're like, you start tasting it or you drink it and you're like, ew, dang it. But then you just like keep drinking it. Maybe that's why we all like alcohol or whatever, because we're just like, this sucks, but I paid for it. I'm not gonna not finish this because I paid for it. Or maybe that's just me because I'm a cheap girl. I'm all about that bargain. I don't let anything go to waste, Henny. Never. Okay, I'm gonna exit now. Is that okay with you? Is that cool? Are we fine? Is this cool? You're not mad at me for that whole social media conversation we had earlier? If I genuinely offended anybody who, like, tries to really hardcore promote themselves on social media, like, just, we can have a private conversation about this, because the main takeaway here is that I really do care about you, and I care about your whole collective creativity, you know, output. I care about that. I do. And I want to make sure that people don't think that I'm like, ew, stop promoting yourself. Yuck. Like, I really am just like, dudes, promoting yourself is so fine. But, like, I think there's a less, more, I guess, quote, like, socially acceptable, like, less cringe way to do it. I don't know. I'm definitely not an expert because I just don't try, you know? But I don't know, man. So I'm going to exit. Okay? And I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I can't believe we've been 80 episodes. We're 80 episodes deep up in this podcast. So I've been thinking that I'm going to go until 100 and then take a little break. So we'll see how that goes. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I hope that you'll come back for more if you want to. No pressure, obviously. I never try and pressure anybody to subscribe. But if you want to, go ahead. If you want to leave a comment, leave a like, feel free. Also, I hope you have a wonderful, I don't know why I just did that. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, whenever you happen to be listening to this ridiculous, messed up podcast. And I thank you for listening. If you listen all the way through, you're a real true friend. You're a real true fan. 80 episodes? You're crazy. You're crazy. Okay, I love you, mean it. This has been the Paper Soprano, episode 80, and I'm Heidi. And I am actually a singer, so please don't take any of those weird, gross things that I just did for real. Okay, love you, mean it. Bye.